see so many people here. This is awesome.
It is going to be an amazing night here, you guys.
It's going to be a
Cannot wait.
fantastic night. I'm alive. I'm awake. And I feel great.
Great.
I'm
I'm
alive.
alive.
I'm
I'm
awake.
awake. And
And
I
I
feel
feel
great.
great.
We are about to go live on YouTube, everyone. I am going to teach you, or I'm going to be able to share this out with you in a moment. That if you would like to invite any of your friends to join the YouTube channel and participate from there, we would love to have them join us over there. We have moderators
Please do
over
it.
here that are going to be moderating the discussion and sharing questions and information with us over here so we can share it out with them. So let's do this.
And we got a lot of people coming on. It's great. We increased our
Oh,
licenses. That's even
it's going
that's
to be
it
an
makes you
amazing
feel
night.
so good.
So, are you ready for this? Let's do this. Awesome. A little bit of outskirts to get us going. And hey, what the heck? We still got a minute or two here. Let's listen to it again.
Yes.
Or we can listen to Lenny Pierce do the Ants Go Marching, which is what it's doing right now. You're welcome.
And we want a lot of sharing tonight, everybody. Tell us your stories. Tell us your successes. Tell us your problems.
Hey, and speaking of telling us their successes, Brian, remember we gave people an assignment at the last session?
Who did it?
Who did the assignment? We're going to find out because we're going to
Yep.
ask you to share that in a little bit. And after we get into the session here, it's going to be awesome. The assignment for those of you who weren't with us was to identify what's one barrier to growth for you and your club, and then to take one small step between that session and the end of January to try to overcome that barrier, to start working on that barrier. And we gave them tips, and we've got that all out there and some in the support materials for all of you. So can't wait to hear what all you did and what your progress is and what our learning curve is. So it's going to be awesome. Yip yo! Not as good at
Yep.
that.
Give us a yip yo in the chat. If you are excited to be here, give us a yip yo in the chat. I'm excited because our numbers are going back up again now. From the end of the year drops that we always have, which we're going to work on, they're going back up again. And that just makes me so happy. Way to go,
Awesome.
Bruce.
Yes, Bruce, we are recording this session tonight, so
Yay!
it will be live, or it will be out on the YouTube channel actually immediately following this. So we'll just go from there with it. So fantastic. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Let's do this.
Let her rip. Yip yo.
It's I don't know how the weather is where y'all are coming in from, but it's darn cold in Minnesota this week. It is going to be negative 29 or 30 or 50. I don't know. Whatever, once it gets past negative 10 Fahrenheit, I don't like it's just it's over the top in my opinion. So,
I'm 100 miles west of you, and it's like 85 degrees in Bird Island. White
uh-huh.
sandy beaches. We got to have a party here sometime in January.
I think that we will definitely have the white sandy beaches of Bird Island going with for us.
Well, they're white sandy something.
Hey, Brian, guess what?
What?
I think we're ready to get this party started.
Awesome. Fabulous. Jody, why don't you start us out?
I would be happy to do that, my friend. Let me just get all my pages in order here and we'll get going. So, if you can't tell, we're pretty excited to have you all here tonight. It is going to be an amazing opportunity for us to spend some time together. But you can also see there's a lot of us here on the Zoom call and also over on YouTube. So we all want to learn how to grow clubs to meet the needs and everything else. But with a crowd this big, we're going to have to keep the flow simple so that the learning stays strong. So here's how it's going to work today. We are going to keep you muted throughout the full session. The chat will be your voice. We have an amazing moderator team with moderators from all over Constitutional Area 1 standing by in the chat, engaging with you, answering your questions, and helping feed those questions to us so we can answer them live on here. A quick note for you about the chat. The chat is going to move really fast. It normally moves fast with a smaller group, but with a group this size, it's going to go very fast. So here's how to give a tip or two about how to keep it from being overwhelming for you. Number one, do not try to read everything. Focus on the prompts we put on screen and read what you can in the chat. Number two, use the Q&A for real questions. If it's a recruiting or inviting question, you want it answered live, don't drop it into the chat stream. Share it with our friend, the questions participant. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Keep your post short. Think one line, one idea, so it's not a long story. And if you lose your place, don't stress. Jump back in on the next prompt. You don't want to miss a whole session because you missed one message in the chat. And then remember, muted doesn't mean silent. It means use the chat, but stay focused on the content. At the end of this session, we're going to have a Q&A. And we've got 3 of our best top recruiters from the last couple of years out of Constitutional Area 1. And they're here to answer your tough recruiting and invitation questions. And how are you going to get your questions to them? Ideally, as you can see on screen, you're going to send a private message to the questions participant that you see in the chat window. So as you can see in the upper right of the screen right now, there's a sample of what your chat window looks like right now. If you click on that blue square with the white X in the middle of it, you can pull up questions. Questions is our friend Lion Carrie Parker out of the Northeast, and she is our questions person tonight. She's going to be gathering all your questions for the panel discussion through that area. So please take advantage of that. Go try it out right now. See if you can send a question to her in the chat and make that work. Our behind the scenes team is going to pull all those questions together, everything you send across everything, and we'll be able to feed them into the panel. One other quick thing, this is a safe space. We are not here to judge anyone. No questions is off limits. If you're thinking about it, someone else is too. So drop it in the chat or drop it in the questions messaging. We are definitely not going to be able to answer every question today, but we are going to take every question that you share with us today and after the fact create a Q&A resource for you on recruiting. What questions you had with answers that will help you move forward and overcome whatever barriers you're facing. So you'll look for that later. This will be shared with the other session materials and the recording, which will be out by this Friday on the US Lions Rock YouTube channel. All right, the chat is open. I can see you're in the chat. Moderators are ready, and we're ready to grow. Hey, Brian, are you ready to get this party started, my friend?
I am ready to get this party. I even got my drumming. I brought my I believe back because I believe in this. I want to say Lions, 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 and Leos too. We want to say welcome to the Growth Workshop. This is where the future of Lionism is not only bright, but it's blazing. It's sizzling hot. I can feel it. It's hottest thing around CA1, and you want to be a part of it. You want to get on this bandwagon. I'm telling you, don't miss it. I am pumped to be here with over 1,000 champions of service today. That's right. We've had over 1,000 people register. That tells me one thing. That tells me that we're ready. We're ready to grow this organization like never before. And if that doesn't get you pumped up, if that doesn't get you excited, if that doesn't get you ready to party, nothing's gonna. Now, I want you to stop for a second. I want you to look around this room or look around this Zoom. You're surrounded by difference makers, by visionaries, by go-getters, and that is you. That's you who are here not to talk about growth, but to make it happen. We need action from everyone. We need to take steps. We don't need to talk about it as much as we need to be able to just go out there and do it. And let me tell you something straight from my heart. This is not just about starting new clubs. Although, yes, we're going to be there. Am I right? We're going to start new clubs. And this is not just about rejuvenating old clubs. Although, yes, we're breathing new life into them. Am I right? This is about reviving the heartbeat of Lionism across every single zip code that we have, every community, every corner of CA1. So let's make a commitment right here. Let's make a commitment right now, you guys. We will recruit with purpose. We will ignite the passion of our clubs. We're going to share all this, and we will never settle for anything less than extraordinary. Give me a yip yo in the chat. We need more of those than anything else. This is the year of yes. Yes to more service. Are you with me? Yes to more members. Are you with me? Yes to a bigger impact. Are you with me? This is the year of us. This is amazing to have so many of you with us live today. Can you feel the energy? Can you feel the momentum that turns learning? And I can actually smell it from here. I can just smell that momentum and the action. It's going to turn the action into impact through growth. So today, we're taking a fresh look at inviting our neighbors, inviting our family, inviting our friends and our co-workers to join us in volunteering to make our hometowns a better place. That's the mission and that's the why. This is the day of yes. So we've been focused on a formula for success. You're going to see on the screen here in a minute, we have to keep the members we've got. Am I right? Everybody works so hard at it, but we got to keep them. Listen to them and make sure that they're happy. And recruit. We have to recruit members. We have to. If we're going to grow, that's how we're going to do it. Add new clubs to reach different demographics and multiple specialties. Today, we're going to update this though. We're not going to have this same screen. Change is good. We want to change the word recruit, and it's bigger than a word swap. When we invite, we're not chasing numbers. We're building a family. We're saying, come stand beside me because I believe in you. I want to invite you to join this organization. It's about serving together, not just signing up. That's recruiting if you're signing up. That, my friend, is how a movement is born. So let's stop recruiting. Let's start inviting. Yes? Let's lead with love, not lists. Because when people feel wanted, not needed, they don't just show up. They're going to stay. They're going to grow, and they're going to lead. So we're shifting from recruit to invite. And here's why that matters. Recruiting is transactional. It's a numbers game. When we recruit, we get numbers. It's, hey, join us. It can feel like a checkbox or a sales pitch or some kind of duty that you have. It might get someone in the door, but it doesn't light a fire in their soul. When you invite somebody, inviting is transformational. Inviting, it's personal. It's, I see something in you. It's saying, you belong here. I want to invite you. I want to give you that opportunity. You're not just offering a role. You're offering purpose, you're offering community, and a seat at the table where hearts and hands change lives. That is absolutely certifiably awesome. In fact, that's phenomenally awesome. Invite says, come with me. It brings warmth and belonging and purpose into our conversations. People don't join because of a brochure. They join because someone that they trust opened the door. So let's start changing our culture. Let's start making it inviting people rather than just recruiting, which is just cold to that. Invite. Give people that opportunity. So before we dive in, we're setting the tone for how this is going to feel. Jody covered some of this, but we want to make sure you hear this loud and clear. This is a safe place. There's no titles. There's no nothing else here. There's no judgment. There's no pressure. There's no perfect answers. And any question is allowable. And this isn't a test. You don't have to be good at recruiting, or you don't have to. I want you to be good at inviting. You don't have to be good at recruiting yet, but we're going to get you there. We welcome your honesty and your curiosity. So real challenges are welcome here because real challenges are exactly what we can solve together. When we have issues in our chat box here, we got a whole bunch of people that will give their positions, give their ideas, give their recommendations of how they got around it. So now take a look at this Zoom and YouTube crowd that we've got assembled here today. You're connected with Lions and Leos from across Constitutional Area 1 and beyond, which means that you've got a whole brain trust with you today. There is so much power on this Zoom. So here's the deal. Here's the deal. Listen for what you need in all of our discussions here today. Listen for what you need. Share what you've learned. Steal the good ideas that work for you. We all have different ways to do things. Steal the good ideas that's going to work for you. Leave with action you can use immediately after this meeting. And one extra challenge, especially for our leaders and our mentors on the call. Take this tone home with you. We need you to repeat it when you're mentoring newer lions. And everybody here is a mentor. People are looking up to you. There's no pressure. There's no perfect answers. This isn't a test. Sometimes we forget all of us are volunteers. We're doing this out of the goodness. So watch what that does for confidence and follow through. Now let's get some inspiration from the highest level. A lion who's laser focused on the mission to grow and who will take over as our international president on July 1st. Mark, take it away.
Hi, everybody. It's International First Vice President Mark Lyon welcoming you to the second session in the Let's Grow Growth Workshop series. This session is going to focus on recruiting. Should I say how important that is? I think you already know that. And I'm very, very proud that you are all on this call today to listen to these new recruiting techniques that are going to be happening, that we're going to be pushing out all throughout Constitutional Area 1 here in the U.S. Under the leadership of the trainers that you have from Lions USA. We're really proud of this group. They are going to share some real cutting edge ways of recruiting with you. We have to look at our communities a little bit differently, and we have to look at the core. That core team we know is very, very important to getting these new clubs started and to recruit new members. We have to focus on both. Remember, it's not just about the new clubs, it's about recruiting new members. So we have to look at that in unique ways. We have to dig a little deeper into our communities to ensure that we're not missing anybody. I think that's an important message to share with your Lions back in your clubs, is that we're looking for people of all backgrounds, all experiences, all ages. We need to talk about diversity and equity and inclusion. We need to keep talking about that, because the better our Lions clubs represent the communities where they're situated, the stronger our clubs will be. So we need to make sure that our recruiting techniques are following the same path, the same journey to new experiences, to new ways of thinking about how we recruit and retain our members. We have to talk about that both at the same time. And I know that the team that will be leading this have demonstrated the ability to recruit at a very high level across Constitutional Area 1. You know, this is a big issue for us, and we have to address it head on. And Lions USA understands this, and that's why we want to continue to focus on recruiting and retention as part of our mission going forward for strengthening the whole being of Lions across Constitutional Area 1. We've got a great message to share. I'm glad you're on board with us today, and I hope you get a lot out of this session. And as I mentioned previously, make sure you share this information with all the Lions that you come in contact with. You know, you are the grassroots Lions that are so important to the growth of our association. By taking this information and bringing it back and making sure that people understand how important their service is, we will make great strides forward in growing the association here in Constitutional Area 1. And I know that's our mission, that's our purpose, and that's why we're here as Lions, is to grow and serve in new and unique ways, finding those people that are underserved or not served at all, and making a difference in their lives. That's who Lions are. Thank you for your time today. Enjoy the session, and we'll see you next time. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Lion Mark. You challenge us to think big and serve selflessly. So from all of us, we want to say thank you. First Vice President Mark, your inspiration's a daily wake up, call to lead with love, courage, and fire. So Jody, tell us about the phases of building a new club. We touched on this last time a little bit. Give us some refreshers.
Awesome. Hey, Brian, I'm happy to do that. So let's talk about where we were in our session 1, and let's talk about where we're moving going forward. So when we met a couple of weeks ago, we covered phases 1 through 4. The setup work that makes growth easier. What's the need in your community? Who are you trying to reach? What club experience fits those people? What's in the way? Name the barriers. Today, we're moving on to an incredibly important part, as VP Mark just said. This is all about recruiting today. So we're covering part one half of phase 5, which is recruiting. And then in 2 weeks, we're going to cover the other part of phase 5, which is marketing. Two key concepts that we need so much work on across the board in order to be successful in building healthy clubs that are meeting the needs of their members and their communities. Next up, so now that we know where we're going, we've got some inspiration, we know where we're going, let's go ahead and hear how you guys are doing. We talked about this a little bit in the pre-warm-up. If you weren't here, you get to hear it again, I guess, if you were here. So let's talk about those barriers. For those of you who were on the call 2 weeks ago, you left with an assignment, an easy step for you to take to help overcome a barrier that you identified in your club that is holding you back from growth. So right now we want to understand how that's working for you. We're a couple weeks out. How is it going? Are you in the red zone? Are you stuck or blocked? Do you need help from the team? If you do, in the chat, put an R plus the name of your barrier and 1 to 3 words. And I tell you what, we're going to have one of our GAT area leaders and vice area leaders reach out to you to help you work through whatever that barrier is and get you unstuck. Are you in the yellow zone where you've got some progress going and you've tried something but you're not quite there yet? If so, put in the chat why plus whatever is going on, whatever barrier you're working on. And then last but not least, let's take a look at the G for green. Green is you passed it, you did it, it's done, and you can celebrate that and move on to the next step to help you reach success. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen because I'm dying to see what's going on. Well, actually, I'm just going to open the chat. I'll leave this on the screen so you can see it. As you're typing those in, seriously, type it in. An R if you're stuck, a Y for yellow if you're in progress, and a G for green if you are ready for the next step. I'm going to copy everything out of the chat here and see what we've got as results and share those with you in a moment. Hey, Brian, did you happen to do one of those activities, or would you like to share something that you know that would work for people that are stuck?
My biggest thing is I get to be a perfectionist on stuff, and you keep working on things, and you never get to it. You just got to be able to get to it. That's always been my problem. So I've always been in the red on that. But you just got to keep trying different things and not worry about people that are going to say no. Move on to the next one. Just keep going.
Brian, I think that's so right. We're getting people to actually take that first step is the biggest challenge. I think so often we look at these big, manuals and guides and everything that we've got, and we are overwhelmed. And what it really does come down to is breaking it down to one step at a time, doable steps that you can move through. Some of them will go quickly. Some of them will go slow, take longer. But you've got to take that first step, right? Excuse me. I'm getting some numbers
I'm
here.
seeing some yellows, I'm seeing some reds, but I'm seeing a lot of greens too. We got a lot of time to get everybody on that green light.
I love it. I've got the first number we had by far the majority were yellow, which is in progress, which is fantastic. About a quarter of people were in the red, need some help. So please, if you're in red, once again, drop it in the chat. We have a team, it's called the Global Action Team, that's there to support you and help you get unstuck and get through those barriers. And then green was a fairly low number when we first got started here, but I'm guessing that is added since I last pulled this chat. So Brian, I think with that, I'm going to switch off from this and we're going to move on to you talking a little bit about what our documents are that we're basing.
Thank you, Jody. And here's the good news. The good news is Lions International already has strong resources to help grow existing clubs and start new ones. Why invent the wheel? There's a lot of material out there. So no, we're not going to be starting over from scratch. There's a lot of things we have. So this series is built on 4 key Lions International source materials. 2 of them help you evolve what you can and an existing club because most of the members here we want to rejuvenate a club, and most of us here also want to be able to help. There's going to be 2 of them that help you build what you need to reach new people and new demographics and give that new ownership. And you already have them. They're part of the shared participant materials, so you can pull them up at any time. We got the QR code there. We got the address on there. It's about Bitly Let's Grow materials. There's material out there. Use it, okay? And also, let me be super clear here. We're not here to read this manual to you. You're not going to go through these pages step by step. You can do that on your own time. We're not going page by page through every document like it's story time. Instead, we're going to use these resources as your foundation, as our foundation, and then we're going to build on top of them with real talk about what works and what gets in the way, about real examples from Lions doing it right now. Simple tools and language you can use the minute you hop off this session until the next sessions come up, until we get those clubs started up. That's the goal. Go from learn mode to action mode.
That's
Jody?
awesome, Ryan. You know, as we start to talk about recruiting, and actually that's so ingrained in my head after over 3 decades of being a Lion, but it's really not recruiting. It is truly about inviting. And when we start making that change in the way we think of this opportunity, it changes everything. And the most common concerns we've heard for years is this. And by the way, I've had them too. Is that I don't want to bother people. I feel awkward asking. I fear rejection. I don't know where to start. Raise your hand if you've ever felt that. Because the reality is, these are common barriers to us getting out there and talking to people because we've made it such a big deal. It takes me back to thinking about that 10th grade, the first time I ever had to do a public speech, and I almost wet myself because I was so nervous because I had built this up to be such a big thing. That's exactly what's happened. We've made recruiting seem like it's such a heavy lift, but it's really not that heavy of a lift because it's really about having a conversation with potential members and moving us forward. It's also about us realizing where we're at in this progress. Not every one of us is going to be a recruiter, but it's not just us. It goes back to what we were talking about earlier. You got to take it back to your club and to your members. Have this conversation with your members about what's holding them back from talking about joining your club and becoming part of our volunteer movement. Because when your members and all of us can name our fears, it helps release that pressure. Normalizing these feelings creates space for growth and makes it easier to take that first step of inviting someone to volunteer alongside of us.
I want to tell you, Jody, when inviting, to me sometimes it feels it feels hard. It's usually because we think we have to convince people. When you feel like that, that's that recruiting I was talking about before. You're not giving it from the heart, you're not giving it from the passion. And convincing somebody that they have to do this like an argument, it's exhausting. Convincing puts pressure on you, and it puts pressure on them too. They don't want to talk about that. They don't want to feel that pressure. Inviting is different. An invitation respects choice. You're giving them a choice. You offer, they choose. How better choice is that? If you offer it, they choose. That's the way we want to do it. But they can say yes or they could say no. And hear me clearly. Both answers are okay. It's got to be the right time for people. You know what it's like because you're not persuading someone into Lions. You are offering them a real opportunity to volunteer. When I figured out that I was giving people an opportunity, that was a game changer for me. I know what I'm giving them. I know the opportunity that I'm giving them because we all feel it. Giving them an opportunity, an invitation lets people choose what fits their life, what fits their season, their values. So here's the local application. This is where we get better really fast. So stop tracking only yes and no outcomes. Stop tracking invitations. Start tracking how many invitations you make. Don't say the yes or no, but think of how many invitations, how many opportunities you're giving people. That's the positive note because invitations are the one thing that you control. You can't control outcomes. Outcomes aren't controllable, but you can control the number of invitations you give. And here's your quick gut check before you send a text or make a call or start the conversation. Am I inviting somebody or am I convincing them trying to join? If it feels heavy, if it feels pitchy, or if it's stressful to you, you might be convincing them. If it feels clear and it feels human and it feels respectful, then you're inviting. That shift changes absolutely everything.
Brian, I couldn't agree with you more. It's so true. That mindset that you're actually having a conversation and you're inviting is so different. So when you invite someone to a Lions experience, you're not trying to convince them to join the club. We just talked about this. You're offering them an opportunity to use their time and talents to create impact in their community with other people who care and want to make the same difference. And quite honestly, that's what most people are looking for. It doesn't matter how old they are or where they come from. When you frame it that way, the invitation feels like a gift, not an ask. So before your next outreach, ask yourself, what kind of impact could this person help make? Then make your invitation about that, not about membership. We don't need to talk about membership because here's the reality. Once they volunteer with us, they get hooked on it and the membership comes naturally. So let's make this real with an example. So let's say my club has a park cleanup this weekend and I want to invite a coworker. Here's what I might say to them. Hey, a few of us from Lions are getting together Saturday to clean up the park. Nothing fancy, just spending a couple of hours doing something good with good people. You'd fit right in. Want to come? It's that easy. Notice that invite focuses on the purpose, which is giving back, use of their time and talent to help with a cleanup that's going to make them feel good about making a difference in their community, and the personal relevance because they know me and they're a friend of mine. Just that simple.
People join Lions because it adds meaning to their lives. I didn't know that much about it. Once I joined, it made a huge difference in our lives. It's changed me completely. They want purpose, they want connection, they want growth, and they want joy. Everybody wants that. Everybody wants to volunteer to help people out. But here's the thing, those aren't just reasons people join, they're also why people stay. And when they don't find them, when the service feels routine, when the meetings feel dull, or the club culture feels unwelcoming, people start drifting, don't they? They don't usually announce it, they just stop showing up. Your club's job and your job is to be aware of people who are drifting or not showing up. Apply it locally. 3-question member check in. I want you to apply this to yourself right now. Let's talk about stay, okay? What's one thing that makes you want to keep coming back? That's the same answer that other people have too. Let's talk about struggle. What's the one thing that's frustrating? What's the one thing that's confusing or getting in the way? We've talked about that before. What is it for you? And the other thing is shift. What's one change, and change is the optimal word here, that would improve your Lions experience right now? Use what you're here to shape projects people care about. Adjust how you meet or how you communicate. Build a club people want to come back to. Happy members do not leave. Let's get it that way.
Brian, that's so many great points in there. And I just want to go back to that question member check-in, 3-step member check-in that you just covered. Because, we've all been around the block. How many of you, raise your hand, have done a member satisfaction survey? And it feels so heavy because there's all these questions and you like this up to 5 and you answer this, that, and the other thing, whatever. And I tell you what, it's overwhelming. So what Brian just presented to you with this 3-question member check-in is a new way of looking at it. Ask all your members to fill out this 3-question new member check-in. What keeps them there with stay? What are they struggling with? What's frustrating? And what shift that they would improve your club experience right now? And then take those answers back and use them to improve that experience, as Brian said. I think it's a really great way to put a new twist on something we've been doing for decades and allow our members to share what's going on and help us improve our clubs. All right, let's move on to the next thing. Next up is a whole different model of a way of looking at starting a club or growing our association through new members. We've been trained to think growth means chasing. Find people, convince them, hope they join. But we're going to switch gears for a minute because this is where inviting gets easier. It's with something called asset-based community development, or ABCD. It flips the whole thing. Traditional recruiting that we've done forever is needs-based. We lead with what we're short of. We need more members. We need more help. We need more people to fill roles. Even when that feels true, it can feel really heavy, like a problem someone has to fix. Asset-based community development starts in a totally different place. It starts with what your community already has. So think of it this way. Instead of asking who can we get, we ask who's already doing good around here. Say it again, Jody. Instead of asking who can we get, we ask who's already doing good around here. Who's running the food pantry drive? Who's coaching? Who's leading the PTO? Who's organizing the neighborhood cleanups? Who's active in their faith community? And who's that person that always shows up? Because inviting gets a lot easier when you start with people who already care. You're not trying to create interest from scratch. You're finding the doers and you're inviting them to serve along with us in a way that fits what they already value. And here's why this matters. When you lead with assets, your invite sounds like an opportunity, not a need. It feels human, it feels local, and people can actually see themselves in it because they're already doing it. So we're all on the same page, right? You and me, all of us. Because we're not going to chase strangers anymore. They're going to come to us when we are out there doing the good we do. We're looking for people who already care. That's the direction we're heading. So now that we have that direction, it's time to take a simple tool that's going to help us find those doers fast. And that's where asset mapping comes in. Asset mapping can be done in an hour, over coffee, or wherever you can gather your team for a focused discussion. Grab 2, 3, 4 lions. List the people, groups, organizations, places, and connections that are already doing good in your community. As you're listing them, look for shared values, how you can connect those values to causes, and then invite those individuals, those organizations to join you in one clear action. What does that mean? One clear action is a service project. One clear action is working together on a big overall fundraiser for the community or for your food bank or whoever it might be. Because when you start with people, you build what fits real life. These are real people out there already doing the work. You're just helping them connect to the broader network and volunteer through Lions as well. That's why asset-based community development leads to better invitations, stronger partnerships, and new clubs come out of this as well. That is the perfect base to build a new club from. Oh, and here's a pro move. You've had 2 or 3, maybe 4 people working on this asset map. But don't leave it with just them. Share with all your lions. Let every lion in your group, in your club, add more doers, add more groups, add more gathering places. Because that's how it turns from a small group project to the momentum that helps propel your club forward. Asset-based community development and asset mapping are incredible tools that every Lions Club should be accessing right now to make a difference in how they serve and how they grow. So what's next for you? And I'm looking at you right now. I'm looking at my camera. I'm looking at you. Because here's the deal. I'm challenging each of you to schedule one mini asset-based community development session. Actually, let's talk about asset mapping. I'm challenging each and every one of you to schedule an asset mapping session in the next 30 days. And then use that information before you launch any new project or a new club. Because the reality is, if you know who's in your community already doing good, you can turn around and start doing even more for your community and meeting more needs and growing your club. So let's do this. Let's take a break for a moment from the curriculum. Because guess what? The guy that's on the screen with me right now, Recently, he's been a member for a couple of years. He's been around the block. We might have seen him here and there, but he recently started a brand new Lions Club for the first time ever. And I thought it would be a really great and cool thing to understand how someone like Brian started from scratch and tell us his story. So, Brian, take it away, my friend.
Well, Jody, thank you. I'd love to. You know, when you find the right group, the right asset-based community group, they just fall into your lap. And it happened to me at none other than the Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota. Now, I'll tell you the truth. I didn't set out as some expert in starting up clubs. I'm not good. That's not one of my strong suits. You know how much of an introvert I am. It's tough to get out there and ask people. And I know a lot of people feel the same way. Nope. It's not my expertise. And I know many of you think the same way, but let me tell you something. You don't have to be experienced to be inspired. And I was inspired when I got this. And when you're inspired, you can do anything. You know lions and you know you are passionate about what we do, and that's all you need to start a club up. You see, in District 5M1, who has been trying to launch a club in the Mayo Clinic for years. It's been a dream just sitting just outside the reach. We couldn't get the right contact in there. But dreams become reality when passion meets action. Action has to be taken. So I was on a podcast one day with incredible Dr. Eric Bolton. He's a pediatric eye doctor at the Mayo and a passionate leader with heart and service. He was interviewing me on my journey as president of Lions International. And after that was over, we talked. He was familiar with a very similar club. It's called the Ambassadors Club in Minneapolis at the University of Minnesota at the Lions Eye Bank, a virtual club of doctors. And I asked him one simple question. I said, how do we get a Lions Club started right here with the doctors? You guys know about Lions and Vision more than anybody else. And you know what happened? Within just a few weeks, it took 2 weeks, not months, we had a specialty club chartered. He came back with 40 doctor names, and that's a fact, Jack. These aren't just doctors. They were visionaries, literally. Ophthalmologists, optometrists, people who help others see the world now help. They were so excited when we talked to them about the possibility. Give them the opportunity. We invited them to come. This is an exciting club. We aligned our missions, and that's what we have to do. So it's very simple in what we did. So next up, we're going to hit back to that club. We're going to start another club up with the Mayos, the doctors, administrative staff, the behind the scenes heroes. And then, yep, you guess it, we're going to go back again and we're going to get the technicians and let them have their own club. That's 3 specialty clubs out of the same group, the problem solvers, the heart of daily care. So one by one, we're creating a network of Lions. And we're going to take this then to other areas because it's all about specialty clubs. Let me tell you one more. I want to tell you one that I want to get started yet in Indiana. A couple months ago, I was at a 100-year anniversary at Martinsville, Noon Lions, and I'm going to get it done. You challenged this, Jody, and I'm going to do this because you challenged us. We dedicated a Lions cabin that the Martinsville Noon Lions Club had done for the Diabetes Youth Foundation of Indiana. It was a great project. They have been trying to get the executive director, Jenna, to be a Lion for quite a while. And as I was trying to help them get her along as well to give her that invitation, she was already sold. She knew about Lions. She knew the great things we did. But we started talking about all the things that she's doing and why she can't join. I got 2 kids. I'm the executive director of this diabetes camp. I'm in PTA, yada, yada, yada. I said, whoa, hold on a minute. I said, wait, you work with PTA? And you have to keep this in your mind thinking all the time. We have one of those in 5M9. Their team built one from the PTA organization. It's already a group of like-minded people. What a great match. You have the same objectives with the PTA as we do with Lions. And Lions Quest program, whammo, a perfect fit. We had a solution. There's no extra time out of your schedule. And look what you get. She was fired up about it. You need to be looking for opportunities. You get them every day. I signed up a person next to me on a flight from Pennsylvania to Minnesota. It's happened multiple times. I signed up my Uber driver in Florida. I signed up a bartender in You just have to keep giving those invitations out and those opportunities. We exchanged some cards, we found them a club, and whammo, again, new member. I even paid for their first year's dues. So let's give them a platform to amplify their purpose, a toolkit to serve beyond the working door, a community to lead and inspire others. This isn't your grandpa's club anymore. This is fast, this is fun, this is impact driven. So get out there and do it. Those opportunities come along, but you got to open your eyes so you see them. Jody?
Brian, what a fantastic story. So often I listen and I'm going to name names, to Daniel in particular and other of these amazing recruiters and club starters that we have out there. And I'm like blown away. First of all, I'm like in awe of what they're doing and I'm just inspired, but I don't know how to take the first step. And what you just told us is the key to it. You basically just have to talk to people. Ask them what they're interested in. Oh, you know what? Hey, guess what? That's a perfect lead into what I'm going to talk about next, Brian. So let me just go back to the screen here for a minute. Let's go. Let's get back to the last couple of things before we go into the question and answer with our amazing subject matter experts. So what Brian was just talking about leads in perfectly to what this next segment is, and that's talking about how you ask people. And it's no longer about asking people to join us to do what we want to do. It's starting with what they care about. It's starting with leading with curiosity and listening to what they want, what they're interested in. Saying something like, "Hey, can I ask you something? What do you care about in our community?" And then if they hesitate, give them an option and ask questions like, "If you could fix one thing around here, what would it be? Or what cause would you volunteer for, even on a busy weekend?" Then pause and let them talk. This matters because people say yes when the cause matches their values, not when we push our agenda. So that's step one. Start with what they care about. Step two is go a level deeper and find out why. Now you're looking for the story behind the cause. Why that? So what got you interested in it? Have you volunteered with doing projects with that before? Let them answer. Then you can connect the dots in plain language by saying things like, "That's exactly the kind of volunteer work we do. We've actually got a project coming up on that exact topic on XYZ date." Or, "We've got people who care about that too. You wouldn't be doing it alone." Your goal here is simple. Make Lions feel like a clear path. It's a clear path to real impact, not a bunch of rules and not a bunch of meetings. The third and final step in the what, why, and how model is offer a next step that fits their life. That's the how. Now, don't lead in with join. Don't lead in with required. Lead in with options. Good news. You can start small. It's flexible. Come when you can. "Hey, why don't you just try one project with us first? We got a park cleanup this weekend. Come join us for that." Once you've gone down that path, you can match the options based on their season of life, we'll call it. So for example, for a young professional, you might say, "Hey, if you've got an hour, we could use some help with some tasks, like we got a flyer that needs to be made up for our next pancake breakfast, or we're struggling with getting our social media posts out there, or could you come and take some pictures at our community garage sale?" Those types of asks resonate with a young professional. For a recent retiree, you might ask, "Hey, could you volunteer with us for one project this month? Even one morning will help." Another option will be, "Hey, we have a quick mentor role. Like, do you have 30 minutes to help a new volunteer feel welcome in our community?" That's a great way to reach out to recent retirees to get them involved. What if there's someone new to the community? Easy questions are, "Want to meet good people fast? Come volunteer with us." "Hey, we do drop-in projects. No pressure. Just show up and help out." And then for families, you can reach out to them by saying, "Hey, we've got family-friendly projects you can do in about an hour." Or bring the kids for a volunteer pop-in. Stay as long as you can and teach them what it means to give back to the community. Once you've got to that, it's time to close the conversation. So here's 3 options that you can take a look at and use one of them and say it confidently. It's the invite. Hey, want to come with me to our next project? Another option would, if you can't join us for the project and want to do something further, come, would you like to help maybe get our webpage up to date or take those photos for us or get us set up on our website, whatever it might be. Then stop talking. Let them answer. Give them the time to process what you've said to them and invite always. Don't ask to join. Brian, let's wrap this portion of this up, because it's all up to you, my friend.
Jody, let's pull all this together. You know, the invitation ladder is a simple way to put all of these contempts into motion. Every single time you notice, you ask, you share, you invite, and then you follow up to make sure you close it like you said. Notice, spot the doers. Who already shows up at things? Who's helping out? Observe, leads. Who's leading? Who's organizing? Who's serving? So notice people. Next is you're going to ask. Get curious. What do you care about around here? If you could fix one thing, what would it be? If you wanted to do one thing in your community, what would it be? Because we can do that. Next is share. One sentence about your why. Then connect it to Lions and Playing Language. I care because. And that's the kind of thing we do. That is exactly what Lions do, because no matter what they come up with, that's what we do. Because we do what Lions care about. And then invite. Offer one small next step that fits their life. One project, one task, volunteer marketing help. Whatever matches them, invite them to come join and do it and to help us out. Follow up, the momentum maker, a quick touch within 48 hours or 2 days to confirm the plan and to make it easy to say yes. So right now, let's use the ladder to take one step. Notice who you're thinking of. Ask yourself, are they ready? A doer. And think about this right now. Who are the people you want to invite? Share the opportunity in a way that matches what they care about. You know people that this fits. Invite them to one simple action. You got it in your mind now. Invite them. Then follow up with that person in 48 hours. Name one person you're going to talk to this week and reach out to them. Just do it. We need action. One step, one invite introduces them to a joy of volunteering. You're giving them the opportunity, invite them to that opportunity. Jody?
Brian, thank you. You know, it's so cool that, to me, because when we were calling this recruiting through the years, it always did feel so heavy and so much of a burden. You know, this whole mindset shift of inviting over that makes it approachable for me. Because it's hard when I was thinking about being having to recruit, but it's just about talking and inviting, heck yeah, I got that. I talk to people all the time. So it's just a question of saying, hey, come join us, have some fun. Let's make it our community a better place. So right now, we're going to switch gears. That's the curriculum we're going to share with you tonight. Now it's time to bring on the screen our three subject matter experts. And we're going to add them to, because Brian is one of those. And we're going to add Daniel Marty Elkins, in theory. I'm going to, if I can get my stuff to work here. All right, let's try this again. In theory, I'm adding Daniel Marty Elkins. I'm adding Winster Ceballos. And I'm adding David Green to our panel discussion right now. These three Lions are incredible recruiters in our association. And it's not just a one and done recruitment thing. We're talking the last number of years. They've been in the top 5 recruiters for Constitutional Area 1 and continue to not only recruit new members, but inspire the rest of us to do so as well. So if you have questions for them, let's get them in the chat. We've got moderators pulling those questions to feed them through to us so we can get them out there. And it's time to see what we can learn and maybe even stump one of them. Hey, I don't know about that, but let's see what happens. All right, let me get to some questions that you've got that have come up so far. So let us start with, hey, Daniel, let's start with you. And this question came in about how do we attract younger members and professionals to join our club? I know you have a lot of experience in this area, so can you just share some tips and tricks and insight?
hmm Absolutely. Well, hello, Lions. And I think the answer to that question is you have to be willing to change in order to make what you're doing the types of things that they're interested in. It's one of those things. If you think about the word attractive, right? If I'm going out to the club, I want to make myself attractive, and so I do certain things to gain the attention of. Right. And to use this metaphor, right, desperation is not sexy. So if you're saying come and join us, and because we're old and we're dying and we need young members, that's creepy. Instead, you can begin to do things like, hey, what do you like to do to have fun? Awesome. Let's do that. That's the way to do it. Think about asking them the types of things that they want to do. And then also think about the fact that the type of meetings you have determine the types of members you will have. So if you want young members, you need to make sure your meeting is welcoming for younger people. You got to be okay with having young kids there. Listen, if you come to my club meeting, you're going to be talking over the sound of laughing children in the background, right? Because that's who we welcome. And as a part of it, we get the whole family vibe. So I think it comes down to asking them and listening to what they want and then being willing to incorporate that, because they have to feel like they have ownership, that on day one that they walk in, that this is not someone else's association, it's their family, and that their voice and their ideas matter. So I think thinking about the types of things that young people like to do, right? And it's not sit around and talk for 3 hours at a meeting, right? So talk about your service to meeting ratio, right? Are you serving more than your meeting? We all join to serve, and young people have enough meetings, so they want to get to fellowship, fun, and service, and so find things that allow you to do that.
Excellent answer, Daniel. Awesome. All right, next up, we've got a question on growth and retention for members. So how do we revitalize, and this one I'm going to give to Winster. So listen up, Winster. How do we revitalize a club that has seen a significant decline in membership and activity?
Hello, everybody, and good evening. So it's basically you have to start from the root. Why is that club declining? Have you done a community assessment lately within the community? What's going on with those members? Why is Daniel not coming to our meetings? I would call Daniel. What's going on with him? But you need to find out if what you're doing is relevant to the community and the members before you can move forward. If we have been doing a pancake breakfast for the past 30 years, and that is not what we need in the community right now, why keep doing it? If we only have long meetings, as Daniel was mentioning, I can go to lunch by myself. I can read the emails, and that's it. I don't need to do that. Integrate service activities, service projects. And I have been hearing all night, and it look like we all are thinking the same way. We join Lionism to serve. And I'm gonna repeat it again. I can go by myself to a dinner with my family instead of being in a meeting. If you have to have a meeting, make the meeting important, relevant. A meeting that do not have to be an email, but integrate some type of service, integrate some type of learning. We have many people you can bring or many videos you can play for 10, 15 minutes in each meeting in order to revitalize that. Guiding Lions, use your Guiding Lions. And we're going to have a class soon in spring. If you want to become a Guiding Lion, pluck, pluck. But again, we need to first go back down to the root and see what is going on with our club. Why are the members not coming? If we can't find those issues, we're never going to be able to fix it.
Great answer, Winster. And it all goes back to service. I mean, both those answers of Daniel's and Winster's goes back to service and making it approachable, and whatever we do approachable for every human that comes through our doors that wants to volunteer with us. Awesome. Hey, David, I think this is the perfect question for you. You've done a lot of recruiting in underserved communities. So the question is, how can we effectively identify and approach communities that are currently underserved by Lions?
So I think the easiest way to do that, honestly, is to do one of the approaches that we actually did in my club, which is we reached out to, in our case, we reached out to a local pride community and we said, hey, listen, you are a community center. You're already meeting the needs. How can we take your action to the next level? And so we partnered with them and we said, hey, you're going to partner with us. We're going to partner with you. We're going to work together. And so our members are now working in that community center, and that community center's folks, they're now Lions. And so that collaborative partnership really is creating that increased footprint.
I love that. That is such a great point. And Daniel, as a executive director of a community center that has a very similar model, it's very, very true. Go where the people are that you're trying to reach and volunteer beside them. And once they see what we do, they want to join and they want to make a difference from being a Lion. Brian, I got a question for you, and then we're going to go to a dues question. So I'm getting fair warning, all of you, you're going to get the dues question here in a minute. But Brian, we've got there's a situation where a new president. Let's do this one actually. How do you try new things when higher ups, people with titles, with P's in front of them, push tradition and discourage innovation? Seems like this might be a good question for you.
We don't have politics, and sometimes this is just a reminder. We gotta, and I do see politics around, no more than my church group, no more than my school, no more than any other business that there is. But we got to get back to, why did people join? We got to know that this is volunteer and we're here to serve. But when you're shut down from people, and this happens a lot, I think we lose more members because of this than anything else, is that people have ideas, they want to do something, and the seasoned Lions just say, go sit in a corner. You haven't been here long enough. We don't want to hear you. You know, First of all, try and get some people that have the same mindset as you. And even if it's in the same club, when I'm a very small community, we have to have all ages. And we're going to have different thought processes, and we're going to have different patterns of what people want to do and what they don't do. So you got to find within your club what other people want to do the same thing that you want to be able to do. It comes in powers. It does. And then you have to bring it to the club and say, this is what we're going to do. I got a lot of volunteers here. This is what we want to do, and we want you to support us. And that's it. You've just got to be able to find other like-minded people to be able to do this. And if you're a club member, and if your club is one of those that says, no, that's not what we do. We don't want to do that. That's hard to do. You just got to open up. You got to let people do. You got to pick your battles, and you got to let people do what they want to do. And it all, like you said before, Jody, it all comes back to service. We're here to serve no matter how we do it, no matter who does it. Get rid of the egos. Check the title at the door. We're all in this together to support each other.
Great answer, Brian. I would also say it goes back to evolve what you can, build what you need. Because the reality is some clubs are not going to get over that. Some of our more senior members are never going to get beyond the fact that they've always done it this way, right? So if that's the situation, find 4 other people that think like you and start a branch club, and build that out to however you want to build it, and make it the club that you need it to be and your community needs it to be, to meet that different need and the different needs in your community. It's simple to do, because there's other people out there that think like you. So if they're not in your club, either recruit them to your current club or start a new club in order to meet the needs of your community and these people that want to make a difference volunteering with us. All right, guys. I fair warned you. Here it comes. Many people want to join Lions, but back out when we talk about paying dues. What do we do? Now, I'm going to give you guys a little bumpers here. Don't just, please give us, never mind. Give us some real tips on how we can overcome that. Actual verbiage, whatever you can, that will help us overcome that, because that is a real world problem.
So I had I was invited to Kentucky 43Y, Brett Rosenblum's his district convention. And I happened to meet then International Director Joanne Ogden. And what she was telling me was that in her virtual club, they actually have a corporate sponsor that covers all of the dues for the members of her club. And that club has over 100 Lions. And every year, that corporate partner just pays the dues. So I'm not saying that maybe not everyone can have that locally, but that was I was like, wow. So we're actually starting to try to look into how we can do that locally. And I got to tell you, we've actually gotten a couple of businesses that said, listen, we'll pay the next 5 members' dues. Just awesome.
Fantastic. That is such a great idea. A lot of business want to support local community organizations and make a difference. That would be an awesome way for them to sponsor members. Fantastic. Um, Winster, you're next. You're next on my screen, so man, you're next.
Well, I put it very easily to everybody that always asks me about that. Why do I have to pay dues to serve? Pretty simple. With the dues that you pay, first, we have all these programs and all these leadership opportunities that you can obtain. Then you see that dollar that you donate to our foundation, even though it's not only that covers, but that $1 that you donate goes straight to your intent. No admin fees are taken away because I pay for those fees out of my pocket. And every time we do events and activities, we also get something out of it. We got insurance, etc. So you have to portray what are the good things that you get out because people are always gonna look for something to get out of it. And we have to go straightforward with this. We have to go very straight about it. I'm giving you something, what I'm gonna get out of it. And that's how people think these days. So you have to show them that it's not only that you help in the organization, but you also gonna get a lot of leadership development, like we are doing here, that done by volunteers. We don't get paid for it, but we're here to support you. We're here to provide you a service that indirectly your dues are helping out with.
Got it. Daniel?
I take a somewhat a different approach. So I get them doing service with our club in our community before I even talk about dues, because the end goal is service, right? I want members, but the end goal is serving our community. So my club created a coalition, a community coalition, as a service project of our Lions Club. Meets once a month. We serve our community. It is all of those things. There's no memberships dues to do. Do you want to come join the Planet Youth Coalition? We help the youth in our community and we get people to join. Now, 85% of the people on that coalition are Lions, right? And we get them involved in doing the service right along our Lions Club. And we don't tell them about Lionism, we show them, right? It is through our service and our actions. And then, because I'm not trying to get a member to get a number for this year, I'm trying to get a lion for life, right? I'll slow walk it. And I'm not trying to sell them anything. And because I'm not trying to sell them anything, you know what? They ask me if they can become lions. They offer to pay their dues. They see the value of what those dues get through action, not words. Now, I'll tell you, that's a long term plan. That's not planning for we want a +1 this year. That's planning for we want, a +100 over the course of the next 3, 5, etc. So it's a little bit longer. Focus on service, focus on fellowship, focus on fun, and then tell them, wouldn't you like to have a multi-million dollar limited liability insurance policy that covers you while you do this? Wouldn't you like to have access to a global network that can connect you to the world and take your ideas and put them on a global stage? Wouldn't you like, and then you talk about how much fun you have, like, I'm going to Hong Kong, and man, I'm going to be, in India. And don't you wish you could do all those things? Absolutely. There's never a question. When you let people see the value of it, you don't approach them like a used car salesman trying to sell them on something, trying to trick them. You're saying, listen, I care about service first. Serve first. Don't invite them to a meeting. Serve first. And then, say, and our next service is this. 3 times at 3 service projects, they'll see the value of we'd love you to join the actual club. It's a different way of looking at it. That's all.
Danielle, that is one of my favorite things that you say on a regular basis is don't tell them, show them. Volunteer beside them, get them out there and volunteering with you, whatever it takes. And that longer term, I love that it's not just a lion for the day, it's a lion for life attitude. Because that's really what we're trying to build here. And we don't want to see them leave in just a couple of years. And if they're hooked on service, they're not leaving. So thank you, Daniel. Awesome. All right, Brian, how are you going to follow that one up, my friend?
Well, first of all, you got to be prepared. You know that people are going to ask that. When you're going to invite somebody, you have to be prepared for the question of what's going to happen when you come up. They're going to come up and say, what do you mean I got to pay to be a volunteer? Are you kidding me? Why would I ever want to do that? And so you have to know how you can combat that a little bit. And you're going to have what's in it for me? Because that's natural. What isn't it for me? So we have to be able to get a value. What is the value in coming here? Now, Lions has changed my life. I already know what the value is. It's priceless. It's absolutely priceless. The organizational skills, the leadership that I have, the volunteer and helping others, it just makes me feel good at the end of the day. And again, I know that may not be enough for some people. So then you have to find ways to maybe subsidize some things or be creative. You have a problem out there. Now, how do you brainstorm to come up with solutions? I also look at the type of member that I'm inviting as well. If I'm inviting a business person, we have all of these online training courses that I would have to pay $899 for to get a leadership course, and it cost me nothing. All the training and everything else, the camaraderie, the family, that's costing me nothing. So you have to give them the value. The other thing is I like the idea of also sponsor. We'll sponsor some of our people. We'll have some of our members sponsor those that are a little less fortunate. The other thing that we will do is, and you'll I think everybody in this call can do this. You can fundraise to take care of your dues if you want to. You know that every penny that we raise has to go back to the public again. But if you do some fundraising, if you do some volunteer work, if you don't have your Lion logo on it, as an example, we'll park cars at our county fair. And we don't have our Lion logo. We're not collecting money to be able to do that, but we get paid for being able to do that. We'll donate that to our club, and that will help us subsidize some of the membership for the low income people and the big hearted people. So you can do this. You just got to be able to do it the proper way too. Find the value on the person you're trying to invite, and you just got to hit them with the value.
I love that. So just as we're wrapping up this conversation about dues, I just want to let you know the follow-up document that you're going to get that's going to come out with the recording on Friday includes a whole session on some ways to answer the dues question. And I'm going to incorporate a number of the tips in that we've heard tonight into that document as well, so that you can take it all in one spot. None of these are the end all answers. You have to think about it and work through and make what works for you. But what great ideas you all have, and how we can all turn this around and help people understand that dues are. We're going to talk about words and the words we use for things in our next session, but dues are an important conversation point. There's some questions in here. I just want a couple of comments I just want to bring up that we saw here with things. And then I've got some more questions for you. I just lost them. I had them all highlighted for you too. Well, let's just ask this question. This is a really great question, and this is about burnout, which speaks directly to retention. And if we've got a Lion who's burned out, they're certainly not in any position to be out there doing more and helping recruit new people. So how do you find time to keep up with social media, flyers, face-to-face without burning out? And this particular group on this call is a really good group to get just a quick tip on that. Any thoughts, gentlemen?
Yes, I go to lionsvirtual.org and use the AI apps there to save time. And so I've been on this call and I've done about 4 different projects that are all running at the same time. So use the tools and technology that are available. No one has the time to be a marketing department in a box, right? So use a program that can help you plan a month's worth of content in a single afternoon, and then be smart and schedule in advance. If done correctly, I could not even open up social media for the next month and you would still see posts from my club that I've pre-scheduled out. So it's all about becoming more efficient with the time you have and using tools that help you save time.
Yeah, I mean, and I can also say, so I was fortunate enough, it was funny. So this past May, I was on our district had a cruise convention, and we had past international president Douglas Alexander on, and he was telling a story about a Lion that he met that had been president for 26 years. And I'm like, how is that not burnout? And one of the easiest ways to burn out is to not know how to say no, not know how to stop. I've got to say, like, being able to not be the guy, not be that person, just say, hey, listen, somebody else has to pick up that slack. I'm so sorry, but somebody else has to do it. And when you step back, you create space for other people to step up.
Excellent.
If I might add on that, Jody, as well, I think burnout is something we see all the time. I see it from members. The problem is I've done the same dang job for the last 10 years and I'm tired of it. We've got a rule in our club. If you want to be a chair of a committee, if you want to do a project, you have a maximum of 2 or 3 years. Then you go out and you get somebody else in there. And the magic to that is to be able to get new members, get new blood in there, get new ideas in there. So it's always creative. It's not the same thing for the last 20 years because it's run by the same dang person. You got to be able to have that opportunity to be able to do different things, and that's how you're going to get your creativity in your club. That's how I take care of myself. I don't want to do the same thing all the time. I don't want to do technical stuff. I don't want to do computers. I want to do something that's outside my normal day.
Totally. And it's about that change in attitude that changes everything. When a club decides they're going to open their doors to anyone or invite anyone in that's got an idea for a new service project and find a way to make it happen, that allows clubs to grow because then that word gets out in their community and it changes how everything works. I've got one last question we're going to ask tonight, and then I'll remind you all that we're going to capture all your questions and put them into the document that's coming out later this week on Friday. And I'm going to ask this question specifically of Daniel. For those of you who are not aware, there's a program through Lions Clubs International called the New Club Development Consultants Program. And it's where you can invite an expert to come out, a subject matter expert to come out and help you start a club in your area. Daniel served in that role for a number of years. And Daniel, this is a question about chartering a new club. What are the first steps to take when trying to charter a new club in a growing area?
Asset mapping. There's a reason why we're talking about that. You need to know what potential partners are there. And I think that is, recognizing that in every community, there are groups of individuals who are dedicated to meeting the needs of those communities. They're already doing the work. Now, are you able to get them to consider doing that work in partnership with Lions? So, one of the most common things that I'm doing is I'm going to somebody who is already doing the work and I say, I'm not asking you to do anything else other than what you're already doing. In fact, I'm offering to help you do it. And I can bring in volunteers and I can bring in grant resources, and Lions can be that support network. So if you are willing to see what the people are already doing and tailor that club idea around it, and then it's based off of their personalities and professions. I literally just came from my club meeting where we inducted 5 new members in a ballroom dancing club branch. They do ballroom dancing. That's what they do. They want to teach people ballroom dances. They're ready to go to do all of these things. And we had 5 people under the age of 23. They're all at the University of Delaware, show up, and they were there to dance. And that was celebrated because that's what they're passionate about. And then we connected with, imagine if you could do dances and raise funds to help kids and et cetera, right? And told them about LCIF, and now they're going to be dancing to raise money for our foundation. So it's just a matter of finding what people are passionate about, finding about what people are doing, and connecting that to giving back to the things that they care about. So you're not trying to convince them to do something new, right? I would never ask that group of people to come and do a pancake breakfast. Never in a million years, because that's not what they're passionate about. They're passionate about dance, and dance can be service if put in the right way.
Daniel, that is the perfect example of the what, why, and how in action. It's ask them what they want to do, what they're passionate about, ask them why, and then help them connect it to Lions. And you touched on something else there, and we'll just take a minute here. Can you explain what your club does? I call you a hub club. I don't know if there's a really official title for it, but what this model that the Bellefonte Lions have is pretty fascinating, and any club could do it. Tell us a little bit about that if you would.
So we become essentially a coalition. It's a coalition of people who are dedicated to serving the community. They all have different backgrounds, they all have different things. And what we do is we create a safe space for them to come and work as a collective unit. And so we have a group who focuses on domestic violence. They're a club branch. They've been a club branch for 7 years. They have no interest in ever becoming a club, but they're doing this work, 6 or 7 women. They're dedicated to do it. They would love to have the support systems of Lions. So here you go. We've got a group of people who do art. And so we start an art club branch, and then that club branch is working on it. And what we do is we just work with them, help support them until, if they choose to, they're ready to form their own club. So one club that started with 5 members 8.5 years ago is now responsible for about 35, 36% of an entire district's membership, because one club sponsored another club, sponsored another club. And it's important to recognize the club that sponsored us, Traditional Lions Club. They do pancake breakfast, they do Christmas trees, the Claymont Lions. That's what they do. They didn't have to change who they were in order to sponsor something new. And that's a really important thing. Nobody's asking you to change your traditions. If you don't want to, that's fine. We're asking you to consider supporting people who want to serve differently.
That
So
is
that's the
such a
model.
that is such a key point, Daniel. So your club it was sponsored by a traditional club that didn't want to change, but they were willing to step out and support and sponsor a branch club. That branch club is now turned into a hub club that is got your base club and has what, 5 or 6, 8 branches going right now,
Yeah.
all with people who want to serve the way they want to serve, and they do their projects. They come. It's just it's a beautiful model, and any club can do that. Our traditional clubs that don't want to change, okay, no big deal. Let's go on and find another way to make it work. So I'm going to wrap up this segment and then give Brian the last word here by just a couple of things that are challenging. Is this, change is hard. Change is really hard and I'm getting older and I'm starting to feel change being harder. And I get it. But the reality is the world is changing and we have to change with it. And some of the things I'm seeing in the questions just break my heart. The fact that we've got people with titles with past in front of them that are coming in and squashing enthusiasm kills me. We get these new members in, they're excited. We get these new clubs started and they get squashed by an outsider. So I'm going to challenge all of you to do this. It's up to us to protect these new members and these new clubs, to protect them from what are usually well-meaning lions. I believe they're well-meaning lions who just don't understand that there's a different way to serve and a different way to do business. And so they come in and they come in and to do a presentation or see what the club is doing, and then I assume unintentionally squash enthusiasm by saying, "You can't do that. That's not how lions work." And that in itself is the first step in losing members and losing a club. We have got to stop that. And if you do nothing else but protect the new members in your club and protect that new club from well-meaning outsiders, and what does that mean? That means, letting the club know that this person's coming in and they come from a traditional background and they may have a different way of looking at things. So you educate your members on the front end. And then you educate the person that's coming in as your guest and say, listen, this club doesn't operate the same way your club does, and it's okay. So you've now set them both up, hopefully, for success. That is such a key in not only bringing in new members, but keeping them. It's not even funny, because if you bring a new member into your club, a potential member shows up at a club meeting or a project and gets squashed by one of your existing members, they're not coming back. And they're not only not coming back, but they're going to tell all their friends about the horrible experience they had. And that does no one any good. So with that, Brian, wait, I lied. I have one more thing. You guys have an assignment, an opportunity, a challenge. Is for you all to go out in the before our next meeting and try that asset mapping. Set up a small meeting with a couple of your club members. Sit down over coffee, a glass of wine, whatever works for you, and figure out who those assets are in your community. Name names, name organizations, and then put a plan in place to get you started in reaching out to build your membership and grow your club and your volunteers so you can better meet your community needs. Brian, what I'm going to put you, you're it, man. You get to close us out.
You know, I get a little excited sometimes, and to see the excitement and stuff that we have here is absolutely wonderful. This is a ride. Like I said, this is a bandwagon. We need more people on this bandwagon. We've had the best year than we have had in decades. And it's about time that we change that. That's why Lions USA was made to be proud of what we're doing again. And it's changing. And it's changing because of you guys. What a team. We just wrapped up one of the best growth workshops that we have for this. I was watching that chat box going, there's so many ideas, so many thoughts that we have to do. We got to keep doing it. And I tell you, it's like I said at the very beginning. I see the movement. I see the momentum. I see the shift change. It's because of people like you. And we got to keep this moving. Don't wait for somebody else. Take action. Take what you've learned here. Go and we can rejuvenate clubs. We can build new clubs. Whatever it takes to get more people for this organization. Do that invitation. Give that invitation and give somebody an opportunity to share the joy of being a lion. That's what we got to do. That's what I got to say. I cannot thank you guys enough. Jody, I cannot thank you, the entire team, the moderators, everybody that's on here. It takes such a big team to do things. And that's what we have to do when it comes to membership as well. Build it in chunks. Bring people in chunks. You guys are awesome. And that's a fact, Jack. Give me a yip yo in the chat box if you had a good time.
Oops. Here it comes.
I like that music.
This is a little bit more
There
catchy
we go.
than the toddler music that came up.
We want to thank everybody. Get out there, do your assignment, and start thinking of how we can build for our next session too.
Hey, the next session is all about marketing, another challenging area for many of our clubs. So bring your friends, come on back. We'll be both live here in Zoom and on YouTube again. You all have a great time until we see you in 2 weeks. Get out there and do some asset mapping and start inviting people to serve and make a difference. Thanks, everyone.
Take action. Thanks, everybody. Be safe.